everyone. Welcome to the Rooster Teeth podcast.
This is Burnie Burns.
Podcast.
Geoff Ramsey. Awesome. Awesome.
Gus Sorola. Podcast theme song.
Joel Heyman.
Break it down.
Welcome to the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Hello, everyone.
I feel pressure that we shouldn't suck now.
Podcast.
Shouldn't suck now.
Podcast.
Wow.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Rooster Teeth podcast.
What an awesome song.
That's this week's podcast song.
Can we get a music
I
video that goes along with that? That'd be awesome.
I believe, if my notes are correct, that was submitted by Mike Trim.
We could have a bunch of gifs of like
Nice.
Gus and Jeff.
So anyway, I'm Gus Sorola.
I'm Geoff Ramsey.
I'm Joel Heyman.
I'm Diane Lane.
Why you gotta be like that?
Every week with that guy.
You know, I don't understand what the favorite feature is on Twitter. I just don't even know what it does.
It puts a star by stuff.
Duh.
Yeah, I don't think anyone uses that. I think they always put in
Yeah,
features.
Is there any other functionality associated with that? Can you view a list of your favorites, maybe?
I can see a list of my favorites. I don't know if I can see a list of other people's favorites. I'll find out right now.
Yeah,
Let me see. Who's someone we should look up and see what their favorite is?
Shaq.
Major Nelson.
Shaq.
How about the person you discovered yesterday, Rodriguez?
Let's look up Robert Rodriguez and see what his favorite is.
So
Is it possible to favorite yourself? 'Cause I think that's what he would do. All right, Shrek. Let me see. Please discuss amongst yourselves. Here's another question I have about Twitter. I have this.
Says it all, doesn't it?
I have this question about Twitter. If you put a green icon on Twitter, it means you support the Iranian anti-election movement. I don't know what else to call it.
The Musavi supporters.
There you go.
Free speech.
I saw that the press is now starting to call them opposition forces.
That's normally a negative term, isn't it? Like when you're playing a multiplayer shooter, it's like you and the op 4, you know?
Well, yeah, I guess so. If you're the incumbent, it's bad. But not, I mean, the rebels in Star Wars were the opposition forces, right? Wasn't necessarily a bad thing.
I guess so.
But I mean, it's a military term,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
so
it
they're
is
calling them forces at this point. So I thought that was interesting. But if let's say you change your icon to green and you're saying, I support these people who are protesting the street and being beaten and shot. We talk about this a lot. That's not real activism. Like, you're not actually doing anything.
Right.
And even worse, there's like a moment in time when you have to undo that. Like, you're like, okay, I'm not so into this anymore. Let me not have a green avatar.
It's like when you take the yellow ribbon off your car eventually.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, this is kind of fucking up my paint job. I still support the troops, but I don't want to ruin my paint on my fancy car.
That kind of weird, like, show activism is always weird because there is that moment in time where you have to, like, secretly, like, okay, never mind. You know, not as cool as it once was.
I mean, the more important question is how can we turn the Iranian conflict into like a video game scenario?
That moment for Joel on the podcast right there is like what it's like to select Caboose all day. It's like I have a statement to make. I'm going to make the stare right now, and then we're coming back out here like this. It's like Joel's waveforms are all over the place constantly.
You were great there for about 2 seconds. It was perfect.
Yeah,
it was
I
beautiful.
need to find that happy medium where I can't move my head around. If you wrote it without it, you're the one who wrote it.
Hey, just so everyone knows, Shaq has a verified account on Twitter. Just I want to make sure.
What is that process?
Yeah, what
like,
is a verified?
Can I verify my account? Like, does Twitter approach you to verify, or do you approach them to verify?
You've got to fill out a form that says, "Hey, I think I'm famous. Do you think I'm famous?"
I'm totally filling that form out. I'm going to fill that form out.
We should see if we qualify for fame.
I have one of the we have one of the top rated podcasts on iTunes.
That's true.
Most listened to. Shaq doesn't. What's he done?
I think that if you get that verified badge, I think there's got to be an instant moment of regret the moment you get it, because it's almost like a douche badge. You know what I mean? That we know you went through the process of saying, I want Twitter to recognize me as being famous. I need that validation.
You should automatically be on tweetingtoohard.com if you have the validation.
They should make a special section that just filters verified accounts. Shaq has one favorite on Twitter.
Who's his favorite?
Shall I read it as Shaq?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, boss. Here we go, boss. All right. It's from ESD714, and it's a tweet directly to Shaq. It's at The Real Shaq. Yo, The Real Shaq, what's your take on Obama week 1? So it's like, here's this moment in history. Like, what is Shaq's take on Obama's first week? We never know because it's not in favorites. We can go look it up, but that's what it was. So that's the favorite feature on Twitter. Amazing.
Is that his only favorite? Can you only have one favorite?
No, I think you can have multiple favorites.
Do you ever stop and think about how much time you spend talking about how much you don't like Twitter? Like, if you just got rid of it, you would free up like 2 hours a day of your life to do other things.
I do feel like there's a bit of a necessity to have Twitter. I do feel like that. But I don't like Twitter. It's kind of like, though, there's stuff that you don't like that you still partake in. Like, I like tweeting too hard better than I like Twitter, right?
I can partake in tweeting too hard and not have Twitter just fine.
That's true. Joel Bush just told me, too, that there's a tweet stalk or something where you can follow people without wanting to know that they follow you or that you hiding from them.
God.
It's just too much.
What's the point?
I mean, it really is to the point where it's like I was watching like the College World Series last night, and it was just like every 20 minutes they're talking about Twitter. Jesus. Twitter. And, they're putting the camera on people in the crowd who are twittering or whatever. And it's like, hey, there's a baseball game going on if we could watch that instead of the people.
But, when Joel said Twitter, that reminded me of something I saw this weekend. I was watching the local news, and, it always pisses me off when the local news talks about Twitter or talks about following them on Facebook or whatever.
You don't strike me as a person who would watch the local news.
I was waiting for Saturday Night Live to start.
You know what? Fuck that. I think you are a person that would watch the local news.
And it's informative. I want to keep up with my city. So the anchor's an older dude. And they come back from a story, and he's looking at the camera, and he says, "Did you know you can keep up with KXAN News on your iPhone? Just go to the APP store and search for KXAN." I was like, wow, this is a dude who's totally out of touch.
Nice.
He's totally been, lapped by technology.
So you have an iPhone now, so you're firmly in the Steve Jobs camp. Like, you have no non-Steve Jobs products, right?
Yeah, I'm happy that I purchased the iPhone, knowing that it helped buy Steve Jobs a new liver.
I was just going to say that.
I chipped in. I did my part.
And
go liver.
Worth it at this point, probably.
I read an article about that saying that people were wondering, well, how did Steve Jobs get a liver when clearly so many people are on the liver, donation list, and suddenly Steve Jobs is at the top? First of all, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, I really think if someone's going to make exceptions for Steve Jobs, I really, at the core, you don't want to be leapfrogged if you're the dude, but I don't have a problem with that. But they basically said that if you have access to a team of doctors and a private plane where you can go anywhere within 6 hours.
So he probably beat the other candidates there.
I bet all the candidates ahead of him on the list were Apple shareholders. And they were like, oh, go ahead.
They're like, yeah, dude, it's cool.
We'll take the next one.
It's cool. Hey, do you think he got Ed McMahon's liver? How crazy would that be? That would be a big ripoff, wouldn't it?
That'd be some old busted liver. You wouldn't want that.
Yeah, Ed McMahon was kind of a drunk. I don't know if you'd want that liver.
I know. It'd be like, hey, Mr. Jobs, we have good news and bad news.
Drunk liver's better than cancer liver.
If you got Ed McMahon's liver, you would be wasted. You would wake up in recovery and you'd be drunk, right?
Yeah.
You'd wake up in an AA meeting.
God. Did you guys ever see the clip of Ed McMahon when he actually went on the air drunk on the Tonight Show?
Which was like every other night, right?
No, the one time he was legitimately drunk, and Johnny had to stop and was looking at him like, "Are you okay? Do we need to take a break here?" But if there is any justice, if the universe has any sense of humor at all with Steve Jobs' situation, that it would be like he would wake up in recovery, and he would turn on the TV, and there would be a press conference where they say next week we're rolling out Liver 2.0. I just fucking upgraded this thing. God damn it. And then he write a petition online to everyone gets the free features of Liver 2.0.
So yeah, Transformers 2 opened up last night to terrible reviews.
Yeah, but did you expect it to get good reviews?
Not really. I really didn't expect to go watch the movie, but I thought maybe if the reviews are right, maybe in a couple of weeks I'll go watch it. And no, I have even less desire to go see it now.
I keep hearing claims of racism with it.
Really?
Yeah, there's some Transformer group that's racist. One of them has a gold tooth. Even I'm serious.
So it's like a Jar Jar Binks thing, maybe.
Was Jar Jar Binks racist?
You remember
there were
people
claims
were
of
upset.
It.
Remember?
Because you talk Jamaican dude,
right? and then people were upset about some of the aliens were Asian and they were evil and because they were
that's legit. Those aliens had a weird voice. I thought that was pretty legit actually.
Yeah, there was definitely some weirdness in episode 1.
Yeah, that was the weirdness that I wasn't concerned about. I was more concerned about the weirdness of the lack of story and entertainment value.
The
midichlorians. The midichlorians was a lot more troubling to me.
Oh my god, it's terrible.
Jeff was telling me the other day that George Lucas has stated that Anakin Skywalker and Luke Skywalker have the exact same midichlorian count.
It's true. You
If
can look it up on
anybody-
Wikipedia.
If anybody's at all interested, it's been verified through scientific tests.
Well, that's because we got into this discussion of who the most powerful Jedi was of all time.
Right.
And I thought it was Anakin, and you thought it was Luke.
Why wouldn't you discuss that?
Turns out it was it was both of them. They're equally as powerful.
They're equally
Totally
powerful.
legit thing to discuss. You can just just start talking about it.
And so basically, it's all based on midichlorian. It's like, so if they have the same midichlorian count, then that's it. They're equal.
Right.
There's no other value
That
beyond
measures Jedi power. Is your
And then
an,
that's
an
it.
arbitrary midichlorian count.
God.
You can't train to be any better. It's the count.
Wow.
So why did they go through all the training and all that crap? Why did they even deal with the Yoda for that
know.
whole movie?
Fuck
I mean,
it.
what was the point?
Fuck it.
Yeah, so where did Yoda rank on that scale?
I don't know.
He had to
didn't-
be higher,
It
right?
wasn't. There wasn't like a scale. It was just like
Can we get some sort of
that
chart?
they had the same midichlorian count, and that they were the
Was
most
there
powerful Jedi of all time.
Any other people mentioned in this count?
No,
Or
he
just
didn't
those
mention anyone
two?
else.
So there's no basis for anyone else.
I had a weird thing that I was talking to you guys about the other day. As a kid growing up, I thought that a lightsaber was the physical embodiment of the Force. Like it was concentrated force, which is why I could cut through anything.
Absolutely.
Turns out, nope, it's just crystals
That anyone
and a battery.
That was the
Crystals
beginning of the
and
end.
light.
That was-
anyone in the
It's a glorified
world,
flashlight.
yeah, anyone in the world could make a lightsaber and use it.
Right.
So why don't they?
I even had a weird theory as a kid. Yeah, why doesn't everyone have a
I
lightsaber?
think I've
Like if you're like
I think what I had, God, I can't believe we're talking about this. This is the nerdiest thing ever. I think what I had read was that people can use it, but they have trouble because it has no weight. It's just all the weight's in the hilt. So you can it doesn't behave like you would expect it to.
That's really interesting because as a kid, I thought that like when you picked it up, it would be like picking up like a magnetized thing, and it would like constantly push itself around. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to like physically control
yeah,
this
like
thing.
the sounds that it made. It seems
Yeah.
like that, right?
like picking up, like trying to put two like pole magnets together. Like it would be constantly that feeling of like something's fighting you on this thing,
Right.
Or like holding a gyroscope, like that kind of a thing.
anyway, Joel. Let's get away from Star Wars. It is pretty bad.
It's not the nerdiest conversation though. We did
we're-
figure out at one point what the nerdiest possible conversation you could have was, and it was discussing whether or not a lightsaber could cut through adamantium. That is absolutely the nerdiest conversation to have.
Which is totally possible.
We had a long running debate.
I think it's absolutely possible.
Yeah, totally.
Here we go.
No clue. They're both made up. They're both made up things. I mean, it doesn't matter. The longest running debate we ever had at our tech support company.
Here we go.
Was in Star Wars. You're in the hallway. You're Han Solo. You're fighting the stormtroopers. You're firing down the hallway. Would you see the laser bolts? Would you see those red laser bolts flying down the hallway? And I always said, absolutely not. You're not going to see a beam of light, even 3 feet in length. You're not going to see that thing. It'd be moving so fast, you would just see a pop and then the explosion of whatever it hit.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see it because if it's moving, if it's moving at the speed of light away from you, light can't move fast enough to come back to you.
Right.
Do blasters move at the speed of light?
That would be the question.
I wouldn't think they do. I mean, you can see a laser beam when it's projected,
That's because it's continuous.
like in Goldfinger.
That's because it's continuous.
And that's also because these are movies.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Is there a maybe?
I'm ready to go toe to toe with anybody on this.
I doubt that there's
So
a scientist that
Science
listens to this
and entertainment
podcast.
just don't go
as it
together.
is,
When will we learn?
You normally can't see lasers anyway. They have to use fog or some type of particulate in a room where they're using a laser so you can see it.
What about laser pointers?
You can't see bullets, guys. How are you gonna? You can't see if someone fires a shotgun. You don't see the pellets. You don't see that. How are you gonna see a laser bolt? You're not gonna see it.
I don't think anyone's arguing with you.
Yeah,
I'm having I had this argument for 7 goddamn
I think
years.
you're having the argument with yourself.
Yeah,
at this point.
we're on your side, dude. We're all
Some
friends here.
demons.
Don't worry.
Some demons.
No,
going-
you're on the slippery slope of do they move at the speed of light? It doesn't fucking matter.
I already said that you can't see them.
You're trying to qualify it.
Unless
doesn't
every conflict occurred in like a disco.
matter. How big is a laser bolt? About as big as your forearm, lengthwise.
Sure.
Hey, wait a minute.
How
wait
fast
a
would
minute.
something that size have to travel before you don't see it anymore?
Wait a minute. I
Speed
was
of
in
sound, maybe.
the army, and we had these things called tracer rounds.
Oh, right.
And you could see tracer rounds.
Every
I
seventh-
fired them.
that's right.
Out of an M16, like every 10th or 15th bullet is a tracer round. You can totally see that thing.
And
So
they're,
how do you explain
and they're
that?
made on purpose so you can see them, so you know
Because-
where you're shooting.
Yeah, and they
That's right.
go fast.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Just as fast as the normal bullets.
Don't go speed of light, though.
Because Because they're leaving a trail of light.
So why wouldn't we don't know laser blast
maybe,
technology?
Maybe there are
Does-
tracer blaster shots.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe there are. If we could do that with a bullet, why can't we do it with a laser beam?
Let me ask you this. When you see a tracer round, is it a streak or is it a dot the size of a bullet?
It's
moving fast.
It's a streak.
Right. Because it leaves behind a trail of chemicals that are on fire.
So why wouldn't the laser blaster do that?
They don't do that because they don't do that. They're just a bolt.
Because
this
it's a
big.
light wave.
Maybe they're not a bolt.
You
maybe
assume
maybe
that
they're
it
just
is.
pellets, and then all you see is the resulting,
Yeah, Joel
Bullets.
has a point.
like the tracer round.
You know, talking about tracer rounds, that reminds me of that time we went to that 24-hour paintball game, and that we were crawling around
Wow.
in the dark in the middle of the night,
There's no way out of this during a conversation.
and that dude had tracer paintball pellets in his hopper.
Yep.
And every few shots he'd fire off, you could see where he was shooting. Cause,
We're getting so fucking far away from having sex with girls right now. You know that, right?
Yeah.
This is
Further and further.
We're just ascending. Pretty soon we'll be playing Magic the Gathering and fighting over
LARPing.
Yeah, fighting over
Oh man! Speaking
who
of
the best
LARPing,
Green Lantern was.
last night I went over to I drove by my new house. Jeff and I are neighbors now. By the
Dude,
way,
every Tuesday night, you saw it?
Yeah. I went to the Best Buy up by the house because I had to pick something up, and I drove over to my new house, and I drove by a park, and there were a bunch of people in the park, and a bunch of cars parked. And I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" And there were some people playing tennis in the tennis court. I was like, "Well, that's pretty normal." And then the next tennis court, there were two knights fighting with each other with swords. I was like,
Dude.
"What the fuck?" They were like dudes out there in chainmail and full armor, like having combat, and like there were a circle of other people in like knight outfits and like Renaissance fair get up, and they were like getting ready to fight. I guess it was like some kind of tournament.
No, it happens every Tuesday night. The LARPers come to the tennis court at Patterson Park. Yeah, I see them all the time when I'm coming back from that same Best Buy.
Oh my god! I mean,
They fight on a tennis court.
Why would they fight
next,
the tennis
next to
court?
people playing tennis.
There's a park like right there. They could go out in the woods and it'd be that much more authentic. But no,
They fight on the tennis
They
court?
fight on the tennis court.
That is bizarre.
It was-
Did they fight with real swords or padded swords?
When I couldn't see, I was driving by. It looked like they looked like real swords from a distance, but I'm sure it was. It must have just been like padded sword painted silver or something.
Yeah. So welcome to the neighborhood, Gus.
And if I remember next Tuesday, I'll try to get down and take a few pictures.
Man, it seems like when they would fight with swords, I'm going back now historically, when they would fight with swords, it seemed like they would get hit with a sword. It wouldn't like cut anything off. Like it would just be a really bad hit to take, you know? Like it seems like 95% of the blows would be glancing blows and like be taking a chunk out of your arm or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we show the dude get, cleanly stabbed or they hack off an arm. I don't think it worked that way.
No, you have a section of your flesh hacked off at a time.
Yeah, or you get a big dent in your skull or
Like-
something like that.
Oops, there goes your bicep.
What would you have used if you were back in those days? What weapon would you have used?
My feet to run the fuck away from a fight.
Yeah. Gus and weapons don't go together.
I would have used a laser gun.
Tracer rounds,
Tracer rounds, right, with the tracer bolts, so I could see where I'm firing.
tracer swords.
Man, I'd have just resigned myself to a life of misery because there's no way in hell I'd ever go out.
The laser guns
Try
in
to
Star
fight
Wars
someone.
did not use tracer bolts because the pistols don't have tracer rounds, and you could see the laser bolts in the pistols as well.
Well, wait,
How do you know
How
they
do you
don't?
know that?
This is the fucking. Well, this is the distant past, but the distant past. But you don't know what they were using, what they had going on. I mean, it makes sense that you would want to create a visible beam so that you can see where
Okay,
you're
I think
firing.
we successfully-
like fucking laser
The
tag.
basic discussion here.
This discussion right here is why there's midichlorians. This is exactly what I'm
the
talking
basic discussion is: would you see a laser bolt? You can always come up with something to say, like they invented something so you could see it. Like they came up with something that's not the laser bolt that you could see to indicate where the laser bolt went. The question is: would you see a laser bolt? Would you see a 1.5 foot length of light moving at the speed of light down a hallway? And the answer is no, you wouldn't.
Well, Jeff just said something very interesting. I don't know what he was going to say, but all I heard was it's like laser tag. You don't see the fucking lasers in laser tag.
You don't.
You don't? Sure you do.
No, you don't.
You see 'em
about.
like
Well,
go off the
yeah,
air,
I mean, if there's
No.
smoke and stuff, yeah, you get
If
the
there's
straight,
smoke-
if there's
the straight, right.
Even with smoke, it's not the same thing.
Listen,
All I'm saying is the technology we have in 2009 and the technology they had on the fucking Death Star are vastly different. We can't make planets either right now, but they can. So I think if they can make a fucking planet that's a weapon, it wouldn't be hard.
I'm
for them to
not
make
talking
a
about
visible-
inventing something. I'm talking about the basic physics of seeing something 1.5 foot moving at the speed of light.
how was
That's
it
what
that
I'm
we
talking
were all on the same page? We were all agreeing about this argument, and now
we're
just
just arguing.
about. This is the slippery slope of laser blast
You
physics.
know, we had gotten away from.
This is what happened to Lucas.
I was
This is
so proud of us for getting away from WoW in these podcasts, and now it's been replaced by Twitter and fucking
It's like-
retarded Star Wars.
maybe
You mentioned laser tag, dude. You took us to the fucking bottom now. What else do you want to talk about?
We kept trying to get away from it. You're the one that brought the goddamn conversation up, even though you knew it was a fucking horrible idea.
Fuck, you brought up laser tag. Why don't you tell us what your favorite D&D dice is? What do you like? You like the 10-sided or you like the 12-sided?
It's got to be the D12. The D12 is the best dice.
Stop it. I can't take it. What? I mean, I can't think of anything nerdier to talk about. I'm sitting here racking my brain trying to think of...
Stop trying!
I think
some other dumb, nerdy thing to talk about.
Star Trek has to be nerdier than Star Wars, right?
Star Trek's
the original Star Trek.
The new Star Trek, by the way, has beaten every other Star Trek movie ever made.
Wow.
It is now the highest-grossing Star Trek movie in history.
Well,
wow.
Kudos to them.
Maybe because the dollar's worth about half of what it used to be. Maybe that played in somehow.
Foreign, yeah.
It's also a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's great. That guy's dreamy.
I thought it was just okay. I don't know. I mean,
Really?
I didn't think
You
it was.
didn't like
I
it?
didn't think it was. No, I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was the best Star Trek. I'm not sure what the best Star Trek movie would be, but I don't think it was the best one. But so I don't know. I know.
Well, that's a very non-committal answer, Joel.
I know.
Something where Kirk and Spock got emotional with each other, I think, would be a good one. That didn't happen.
I think the one where
too many fucking times.
where they're looking for God. Do you remember that one?
Oh my God,
And
it's Final Frontier.
And they
Final Frontier.
all acknowledged their oldness. That to me, I thought was the best one because it was funnier.
We're doing it. We were making fun of it 2 seconds ago, and now we're doing it.
Hey, we're not arguing the physics of
There's
Star
no
Trek.
self-control.
That's worse. Now, if we got into a conversation of who would win, Star Destroyers versus, like, Enterprises,
don't even say
that would be the worst.
Don't even
if
say
we got into that debate, like, what...
No, I see you thinking about it. Don't do it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting question.
And really, the question is, what is hyperspace and what is, like, right? What,
Light
no,
speed.
speed. What's the difference?
I can't take
I'm gonna
it.
die.
We should Twitter about this.
How much money do you think they've made on Transformers over the years? Because this is like they're back now and they're selling the toys again. This is something that started as a toy, right? Transformers were a toy
Yeah,
first.
it's like
it
back
was a toy
then the
first.
model, even like the Mutant Ninja Turtles, the model was let's make a toy first. Okay, how can we sell the toy? We make a TV
Well,
show.
I think with Ninja Turtles, it was a comic.
It was a comic book first.
was
to
it
be
comic
fair.
book
Yeah.
first?
But it was an adult comic.
But G.I. Joe and
Well.
Transformers were toys first.
Well, just that period, like He-Man and all that stuff. It was all selling toys, and it was like the best way to sell a toy is make a cartoon about it. It was,
It's a 30-minute commercial.
right.
It's a Star Wars model. I'm actually surprised they never made a cartoon about a candy. That would have been huge.
I heard a long time ago they said, remember those He-Man cartoons?
Duh.
Guess how much the budget was for one of those cartoons?
Like $40.
I don't know, what was it?
And this is a statistic I heard a long time ago, late 80s. They said it was $1 million per episode.
I find that impossible.
I don't know.
Though it didn't make it into the production, that's for sure.
We're on Masters of the Universe now. For God's sakes! I mean, next is Smurfs and Munchie Cheeks.
Who would?
Masters of the Universe is pop culture. It's not. It hasn't come back around.
I know.
All right,
I'm in a weird
Okay.
place now.
Who-
I'm reeling over here.
If we had Smurfs versus My Little Pony,
No.
who would
The
win?
question is Smurfs versus Snorks. You got the question fucking wrong.
Who would win in a battle? Well, I guess it would be if they were underwater. The Snorks would have pretty short conversation.
Smurfs
Let's
have
go
a
back.
fucking wizard.
Let's go-
Snorks don't. End of story.
College World Series. Let's go to that for just a moment. Let's
So
Talk about Megan
clear the
Fox.
palate.
So Texas won last night against LSU, right?
It is. It's a
So they're
3.
going to the final game.
Right.
Is that tonight?
It's tonight.
Wow.
It's a 3-game set.
Go Texas.
Go Texas! Yeah.
I can't believe Texas blew it in the 11th inning on that other game. Weren't they tied like 5-5? Then
They were winning in the bottom of the ninth, and
Yeah.
LSU came back and tied it.
It's so amazing to me because they got some pitchers there that will go like 9 innings. They will pitch. They will go 90. They'll be in the 9th inning. They'll pitch. They'll hit a 95 mile per hour fastball. Then they'll throw like a 77 mile per hour changeup. I mean, if you can do that for 9 innings, that's brilliant stuff.
And
brilliant stuff. And then you never hear from them again.
Remember that? Yeah, I know, right? It's
like
amazing.
how you
Throw their
don't
arm
see-
out by the time they're 22.
I guess so.
It's a weird thing with throwing too, right? Because quarterbacks are the same way. A quarterback in college is not necessarily a direct
Not
correlation to a
at
great NFL quarterback. Yeah,
Not at all. It's like all the best quarterbacks in the NFL. It's
Yep.
like 14th round pick from
Well,
like.
I think
Yeah.
I think NFL or like football is totally different because I think size matters a lot more there versus baseball. Like it's like the whole problem Major Applewhite had. He was a decent quarterback, well loved, but he was too small, I guess, for the NFL. Too small to pass over the line.
He never even got a chance.
No.
He never got. There's a pitcher now in major leagues who's like 5'6", And it's like everyone's talking about what a miracle it is that this guy can be a major league pitcher. You know, and the hitters are having a hard time hitting him because they're not used to the ball coming in from like underneath them, basically.
Yeah, coming up.
That release point underneath them.
Speaking of quirky pitchers, did I tell you about the pitcher in the minor leagues? I think up in New York right now, who's ambidextrous and he can pitch as a righty or as a lefty.
Did we talked about this? Didn't
yeah,
we?
I
And
We
there
might
was-
have, yeah.
A switch pitcher?
Yeah, and he's got a spare glove on the mound with him, so that way if he decides to pitch from the other hand, he just swaps his glove out. They had to institute so when he goes up against a switch hitter, it's a huge problem because the switch hitter will go up, try to bat lefty if he
and there's no
righty.
rule, right?
Right, and then the pitcher will switch, and the switch hitter will switch, and the pitcher will switch. They had to institute a rule, for this guy saying that he can only switch the hand he's pitching with twice per batter.
Twice per batter?
Yeah.
So Megan Fox had to apologize to the kid who tried to give her a rose.
She didn't have to apologize.
Well, she kind of did. I mean, the guy brought it up. What's she going to say? Fuck that kid? Fucking stupid rose?
I thought that
For
was
those
pretty
of
cool
us who
her.
don't know what you're talking about.
There was a picture that went around the internet of Megan Fox being herded by paparazzi. Okay, I'm going to go straight for it. It was actually a picture of Megan Fox's boobs, but if you looked at it long enough, eventually you saw other stuff around her boobs, which included her and a paparazzi guy or like a bodyguard, like kind of ushering her
handler.
along. Yeah, handling her. And
What a job.
yeah, I just had a tangent in my head. And then this kid trying to, like, this kind of slightly overweight kid, looks really nice. He's trying to hand her a rose, and she's, like, completely ignoring it, and the look of longing on his face. It's a great photo. And so on her junket that she was doing for Transformers 2, some blog guy brought it up. He actually used the word cyberspace when he brought it up to her. He said, "This is going around cyberspace." I haven't heard that since,
Yeah, that dude actually appeared from a time machine. He came from the year 2000 to ask her these questions.
He was that guy. He was that guy that you used to talk about all the time. The time traveler guy.
John Titor?
John Titor.
Oh man, don't get us started on John
No,
Titor.
yeah, really.
That's got to be the ultimate podcast discussion.
Talking
right
about
there.
John Titor reminded me of that YouTube video we saw the other day, where I guess some guy his land was being leased by FEMA. He was somewhere in the Midwest, if I recall properly.
Yeah, this is to recollection. This is how the story went. Yeah,
And so I guess he went out to see what was being stored on his land, and walked out, and it was like 2 or 3 football fields worth of boxes. He couldn't figure out what it was until he got closer and looked at them, and they were collapsible coffins.
Plastic collapsible coffins.
yeah.
And they looked. Apparently, they started coordinating searches and looking around the country, and they found that FEMA has been storing 3 million disposable coffins around
I think
the
they found
country.
up to 3 million.
Up to
I think that's what they found so far.
That they're
And
aware
if
of.
this story doesn't creep you out, when you see the picture, it's unbelievably. It's so
And
creepy.
They stack like plastic cups.
right.
It's so creepy to me that it
Plastic cups
almost
of death.
it almost has to be like a viral marketing campaign for a movie that no one knows about yet. I mean, if it's
I
not,
might agree with that.
Or it's a viral marketing campaign for plastic coffins.
there you go.
Or it's a viral campaign for a virus that we don't know about. But yeah, but it's weird to see like just
gotta be.
rows of thousands of coffins that the federal government is storing.
And Bernie made the greatest joke I ever heard, which was like it was really scary to find out that there were social security numbers attached to each individual.
I said that would make it a whole level creepier, as if they already were pre-assigned with social security numbers.
But there's a lot of conspiracy theories about it. But I
no,
think
no shit.
I think Bernie and I had the same conclusion about it, where it's someone high up at FEMA had a friend who makes plastic coffins, and it was like a kickback.
Yeah, somebody has a plastic extruding factory.
Right? It's like, yeah, well,
You know what
Who
that
has-
means? It means that they got to you.
maybe they did.
Who has a company that produces mass plastic coffins that self-collapse into one? I mean, who has that company?
Those companies that make plastic stuff, that extruding process, they can make anything, dude. They
Yeah,
can make.
but no. But if you can make anything, why? Let's make coffins. Like, why is that your choice?
People are always going to die. People always need coffins. Fuck, dude.
in
why not?
300,000 person sets and strategic areas.
It's volume, dude. Yeah, well, if you're going to make one, it's just as cheap to make 1,000.
Yeah.
Jesus, make something.
And supposedly they're plastic because they can be cremated, the entire coffin.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of burying them, that's why they're made out of that specific material. These are, of course.
What? No, I mean, when you burn plastic, what happens when you burn plastic? I've never seen a form of plastic where it's not a black smoke. There's got to be a better. There's got to be.
Well, they're made out of some kind of resin. Who knows? I mean, who knows? Who's going to complain that people are putting you're putting 3 million people in coffins? People are going to be like, let's discuss the environmental impact of 3 million dead people. They're going to be like, I don't want to go in a coffin. You guys can burn whatever the fuck you want to. They're not going to be complaining.
I figured it out. It must be a kind of plastic that when you light it on fire, like you can't see the smoke. That way, when you see the giant billows of
what happens is they put the black helicopters over the smokestacks.
Okay, this
to
is
disperse
all coming together.
disperse the smoke. So you can't see it.
Someone, I'm gonna not say. Maybe I shouldn't say this.
By the way, we're passing along a lot of like raw internet speculation as though it's fact. I mean, it's you can see the photos of these rows of these boxes, and they say casket liners like on the manifests. Apparently, if you believe what you read on the internet. But aside from that, we don't really know what they're for.
They can't be cat. They got to be something else.
Fuck.
But it's like I'm to the point in my life where it's like if something like that actually is happening, that's awesome. Finally, something weird.
You know what this means? The second this podcast hits the internet, all our phones are going to be tapped, and we're going to start getting followed by the black helicopters.
Well, it's funny because the government, it's like Twitter has that validation thing. The government has the same thing where they just put a little icon next to the podcast so you know they're marked.
Verified terrorists.
We'll have we'll be the first podcast on the terrorist list.
You know what, the big deal? I mean, God forbid a pandemic or something happens. At least we'll be ready, right? We'll have like 3 million bodies laying in a pasture
somewhere. We're not going to be ready.
Ready is not letting 3 million people die. Well, that's not ready.
Shit happens.
That's preparing to be unprepared.
It's like it's like you see all the movies where it's the end of the world, everybody's turning on each other or whatever. They had that 60 Minutes report back when the hurricane hit down in New Orleans, and there was that one bridge that crossed into, I can't remember where it was, but they were not letting people across that.
It crossed into somewhere that wasn't New Orleans, and that wasn't underwater, and they wouldn't let them through. They were like, fuck it.
Yeah, no, they were like sitting there with their SUVs and lattes, and people were like crawling, help us, save us. No, you're not coming. Sorry, across the bridge. Turn on each other like that immediately.
Now we're on a really weird tangent here, but we had a discussion about Katrina the other day, and we were talking about like the federal government's very slow response to Katrina, and it made me. We got talking to somebody kind of put the theory out there, and I thought it was kind of interesting that like this was gonna happen. And the government didn't do anything to make the situation worse, but kind of it's a weird experiment to see what would happen. Like, how thin is that line between civilization and just absolute mayhem? And what we learned, pretty damn thin. I mean, you turn off electricity, you turn off the the illusion of law and
the internet.
Yeah, and wham! I mean, people were shooting each other in the streets. They were sniping at hospitals. It was crazy. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly the situation fell apart there.
3 million coffins might not be enough.
It's like this office. Like, what happens when we turn off the air conditioning?
Yeah.
Well, we're already experiencing that. Our fucking air conditioner's been dying this entire summer.
Yeah, it's been a little rough.
Luckily, it's only been 104 every day in Austin.
Like
so.
you could take pictures of our office when the air conditioning is on, and literally go back back to winter. This office was clean. You go outside in the main office right now and take a picture. It looks like a hurricane hit, doesn't it?
There's something to it. I don't know what there is, but I mean, ever since we started doing live action stuff, the office has gotten progressively just more and more cluttered. Like for no reason whatsoever, every piece of the red camera is out on that desk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just we have cases, super organized cases where all that stuff is supposed to go. Everything's just laying out. Even nuts and bolts and wrenches, and they're all just sitting out there.
You front office people are dirtbags.
You are.
Back office where Burnie and I sit, it's totally nice.
Traitor.
Yeah, what are you gonna do, man? I couldn't live in the filth.
We were just talking about how the plastic companies can basically make anything. There's another industry that has suddenly hit some kind of moment, some kind of singularity in their industry where they can just seemingly make anything they want to now, and that's the candy industry. When I was a kid, we had a Reese's peanut butter cup, we had a Hershey bar with almonds. And then at Easter, you got the peanut butter egg that you could buy. Now, pretty much if they can think of a candy bar, they can make the candy bar.
The world's changed a lot since the 40s.
I mean, first we had regular taffy, then we had saltwater taffy. No, but seriously, I mean, have you seen, there's 80,000 different kinds of Kit Kats. They're just fuck it, we're doing everything.
So you're saying
there's a lot of shit out there, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like chocolate Skittles.
Chocolate Skittles.
Worst thing ever.
Inside Out Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
So basically you're saying those coffins are made out of chocolate.
That's basically what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe the candy industry is leading into everyone going into the coffins. You'll go, would you like the Kit Kat with potato chips infused in them, or would you like an inside-out Reese's?
See,
peanut
I
butter
don't think it's a matter of that we can fabricate anything. I think it's to the point now where there's a market for it.
You know, there's an iPhone app where you can have it call you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a fake phone call. And you're like, oh, I gotta take this.
It's fantastic.
brilliant
You can
app.
even
There's a website I've seen where you can do that also, and you can have it call you or text you, and there are like predetermined texts you can choose from, or like calls.
That's been around. Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
around
you
for
can
a
have
while. I mean, there's
you can
been
have it spoof numbers that like show up like grandma or whatever.
the one on the Sidekick you had. You could actually record yourself, so that when you called, it would play back your recording to you. It would play your ringtone, and you pick it up, and it would play your recording to you, so people could hear you talking to somebody.
Bernie, don't use the time machine. Click.
It's like, hi, this is Bernie. It's like everybody's like, oh, he's talking to Joel, obviously. Or he's talking to somebody on Xbox Live.
The person he's talking to has swallowed their cell phone somehow.
Hey, Bernie, it's Joel Heyman. I just want to call and say hello to you. How you doing? Okay, bye. I should post a picture of a waveform of a Joel Caboose line where it's like this massive, overblown first part of the line, and then it gets quiet.
We had that one line in this week's episode where you had to like increase the volume by like 500% at the end of his line.
Yeah,
And still
Where he
people
said
complain they
the
couldn't.
details aren't very important. It's like the whole line was strong, and then it was
and I'm on the mixer, like trying to keep up with the tracks. I look like Igor, like pulling the levers. I'm like, yes, master, let's go. Just yanking.
Do you move around a lot when you're doing your audio, Joel? I mean, like, are you constantly moving?
Joel gets into it. It's awesome, and he gets into it, and it's always a good result. It's just like the technical aspect of looking at the line and trying to, and then we put the filter of the helmet on it, and it just.
Maybe we should have more microphones in there for when Joel does his audio. That way, no matter where he's moving, he's near one.
I think in this last episode, he had a line where he had that big hey right in the middle of it.
Oh yeah,
and
man.
so I had to like compensate for the hay on the fly, like, Oh, Caboose,
Yeah,
you silly guy.
I selected his audio this week, so I'm familiar with that hey.
I still love Joel's interpretation of Caboose, which he told me, I think was it season 2 or 3. Great interpretation and motivation for Caboose is that Caboose is the only guy that knows he's in a video game.
And it all goes full circle because it's like you said, people on Xbox Live, you can't understand what they're saying on the microphone. So it's like to be that character, you can't understand what I'm saying on the microphone.
I'm gonna look at Geoff during the podcast the way he always looks at everybody else.
Is that how I
While
look?
talking all the time like this.
That's a very sour face.
That's how I look at everyone all the time. Why are you so troubled by it now?
It's
been
like
10 years.
Geoff has an elegant mixture of asleep and mad. Is the way he looks at you. It's like, I'm too mad to fall asleep.
If I wasn't so tired, I'd come over and slap you.
And you're the reason why. It's like angry insomniac. In headphones.
That's a great combination. It's just hard to tell a story and see that sour face.
Oh, is that? It isn't. Fuck you, dude. You've looked at this
See
face
what
for
I mean?
10
There
years.
goes the anger.
It's not this is my face. It's not sour. It's just my face. Hey, speaking of telling stories, you mentioned earlier that you moved into the neighborhood. You live about 3 blocks from me now. I can actually walk to your house.
Yeah, we timed it. It's a 6-minute walk between our houses.
6-minute walk. And the other day you called me and said, "Hey, I'm outside watering the grass if you want to come hang out with me." Because that's what we do, hang out while we water the grass.
That's what neighbors do, right? I'm
yeah.
new to this.
And I walked over. It was the very first time you'd ever watered your grass. And you turned your hose on, and it exploded on you, and you got drenched. It looked like you went to a water park. It was hilarious, and I was glad I was there to be witness to it.
Yeah, what the fuck happened? You told me, I guess a washer came out of the hose or something?
Yeah, they have little rubber washer rings inside, and you didn't have one.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna go by your house tonight because I need a rubber washer thing.
Yeah, I actually have like 100 of them.
Okay, cool.
So
I gotta water my lawn again tonight, so I'll go get one from you.
I don't feel comfortable saying why I have so many, but I do. I have a lot.
It's almost like you guys are coming up with excuses to have secret sex.
We don't need excuses.
I need to get that hose from you. I don't know.
Wink.
And if you need like 3,000 coffins, come over to my place. I can
All right,
help you with that.
cool. I just need one.
You can buy those little washers at Home Depot. I could have bought some when I went out and bought the portable AC units last
Well,
night.
I know Geoff has like 100 of them.
That's actually why I have them, because you can't buy one. You have to buy a pack of like 50.
Yeah.
Luckily, that pack's only like 45 cents, but yeah. If anybody on the site needs those little washers, let me know.
I think we should have a contest on the site to see who can come up with the greatest conspiracy theory flowchart.
I have a friend who's doing that with me in email right now, so he would beat them all. Like he has
I think we should have
conspiracy.
that contest to see.
And he's nuts.
And he's drawn lines between them.
And
He's the
you
guy
can-
who told me about the coffins.
He's like Mel Gibson in conspiracy theory.
And how our podcast fits into that conspiracy theory.
Our podcast and the conspiracy theory?
I guess if you have an entry for that, email joel@roosterteeth.com. Let us know what the best one is, Joel.
Damn it.
Ambush.
God damn it.
Hey, man, you bring it up. It's your job.
Joel will pick the winner and mail you a prize.
Back when we did
did
Supreme Surrender, Jack was there, and it was like, hey, we should have a contest for robots. And everyone was like, hey, that's a great idea. Yeah, we should do that. And he was like, yeah, okay, we should do that. And then the next thing I knew, I was in charge of reading 400 emails every day and having to do all that.
And for a guy who can barely read, that was a tall order.
It was a tall order. Thank God there were pictures.
Yeah.
I would like to make a weekly request of the internet, since we asked them last week to no longer participate in online petitions, since we know they're of no value whatsoever. Is it okay if on a regular basis if I ask the internet to either do or not do something?
Fuck it. Do it.
This week I would like to ask that people... I'm going to go back to Twitter here, Jeff, so...
Please do.
I caught you mid-yawn. That was nice. On Twitter, and this other place, I'm sure it happens on Facebook. I'm just not on Facebook, okay?
You are on Facebook. You have an account.
I do, but there's nothing on it, so...
Because Twitter's so much more robust.
What's that? No. I just don't. I never did anything because I want people to come to our site. You're interrupting my segment.
All right. I'm sorry, sir.
The thing I would like to ask people this week is when you make a status update or you make a Twitter or something like that, it might be very tempting to write, and we actually did it in this podcast at one point. And hopefully, Gus will edit it out where you say like, "I'm going to do something blank that I can't talk about," or "working on a secret project, can't tell you about it." If you can't fucking tell us about it, don't fucking tell us about it. We're not interested, okay? We don't want to know about your dumb project. We don't know about the thing that you have an NDA that you can't discuss. It's not at all interesting.
Everyone has fucking secrets.
Yeah, it's fucking douchey and dumb, and everybody does it in the exact same way. Nobody fucking cares. Okay, that's it. Hey, thank you.
Bravo, sir.
I got the slow clap. It's so dumb. I just hate it. I'm sorry. I'm done. That's it. Curmudgeon's over.
Man, Bernie's in a mood this week.
I'm going to come sit
I got upset about that.
I have been working on a secret project that involves coffins and FEMA, but that's all I can say.
I'm gonna come back out in the front office for the rest of the day.
All right.
Hey, I have one last thing.
Oh,
hey,
sorry.
are you getting a lot of entries for the music at the beginning?
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of them?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I should say that again. If anybody has an entry they'd like to submit, just email an original composition.
And maybe if you're getting more than maybe you can handle, maybe we can put one at the beginning and a different one at the end.
No.
You got to tease people. Let them have once a week. Anyway, email podcast@roosterteeth.com if you have an entry.
We want it to last as long as possible, right?
Yeah, I also like that Joel's trying to create more work for Gus.
We can have mid-segment, one for each segment, right?
And somehow the audience as well. If you guys
have your flowcharts by tomorrow,
if you guys could submit a weekly podcast to us, that would be awesome too. We'll just pick the best one.
If you could write the dialogue for us,
we'll just read the dictionary, and you can piece our words together as you see fit.
Yeah, we'll have a contest where you make our content. We're threadless now. Do all of our work for us, and we'll tell you that you won a contest.
You win $5. All right.
Yeah, you won $5. We won $40 billion.
Congratulations. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Ta-ta.